Fast fat loss. Is this a myth or reality? Let's get into the detail. In this video, I'm going to answer the questions. Does it work? Will it work for you? And more importantly, is it the right approach for you? And if you stay until the end, I will show you exactly how to do it. Sound good? Let's get into it. I have talked to hundreds of guys that want faster fat loss. They want to lose fat really, really quickly. And I've worked with lots of guys who have successfully dropped 5+ kilos in 6 to 8 weeks. Firstly, why are we attracted to this type of marketing, this type of message around quick results, when we know health and fitness is a lifelong game? We get ourselves caught up in these mental loops thinking, I want it really quick, but I also want to be fit and healthy for the rest of my life. Creates a bit of a challenge internally for us. Well, our brains have got some funny wiring, and we're very attracted to this, and we want it very, very easily. It flicks our switch. We want it to come easy to us, and we want things that seem simple and straightforward and will happen quickly. However, usually that's not where we get the most reward. If you think through where you've got all the things that you really value in life, they have been the hardest challenges that you've been through. And that's what we value. So it really is a mental struggle to burn through this idea of wanting things quickly and the long-term approach. Let's get into the details of how we might unpick that. But before we get into that, let's face it, we all want that secret sauce of fast fat loss. We all want to know how to do it. So the simplest solution and the simplest way to explain it is to think of 2 levers that we can pull on to drop fat fast. And they're all based around the law of thermodynamics, which states, the law states that energy cannot be created or destroyed. It can only be transferred. In the context of fat loss, it means energy that you consume in the form of food, must be balanced with the energy that you already got stored as fat. Okay, and that's where we get into this chat about caloric deficit, calories in, calories out, CISO, all that good stuff. So that's the first lever we can pull, energy balance. Okay, and that's really the only tool that we've got available to ourselves. Yeah, so you can sum up every fad diet trend chat about nutrition to that one thing, the law of thermodynamics. And I cannot tell you how important it is and how many people I see overlooking this when they chat about diet and nutrition, okay? Fat loss is about energy expenditure and how much energy you're taking in versus how much energy you're transferring further down the chain, whether it be to lift something or to do something, etc. So that's the first lever. The second lever is you can effectively supercharge what we just talked about in terms of transferring the energy out of the adipose, out of the fat tissue, by building more muscle tissue. If you've got more muscle tissue, you've got a faster mechanism for being able to draw the fat out of your body, and utilizing that fat, because you've got a mechanism to utilize and use the fat that's stored in adipose, that's stored into fat, into your muscle. So building muscle and using muscles and growing muscle tissue is a supercharging mechanism for that law of thermodynamics that we just talked about, burning fat. Hopefully you're still with me. So those are the 2 levers. Sorting out how much energy you're taking in versus how much energy is coming out. And the second lever is building muscle tissue, so you've effectively got more of a reservoir to then use that energy that's coming in or being used by the fat tissue. Now, if we bear that in mind and think about some of these new trendy drugs that are on the market, the GLP-1 agonists like Ozempic, and what they're doing, how they work. So they effectively stop you eating, okay? They make you feel sick when you try to eat something. So they are shutting down your ability to take energy into the body and therefore store it as fat, which means you have to use your stored fat energy as energy. And that is how you drop fat. Okay, that's all that's happening, which means very rapid weight loss, which is why we're seeing such amazing results with these new drugs that are on the market. We really are. The problem with this type of approach, rapid weight loss, is we also lose a lot of muscle mass at the same time. So anyone who's on these medications or on a very strict diet is going to be losing large amounts of muscle mass if they're doing it over a very short period of time. Okay, why does that matter? Well, if you're middle-aged, and by middle-aged I mean around 38, don't be fooled. Losing muscle might not be a fantastic idea for you and might open you to lots of other risks in life, especially if you're north of 38 and getting older, because you might not add that muscle back in. Okay, which when you get really old is going to be really problematic, because we know longevity is linked to amount of muscle we are able to maintain. Getting into the weeds a bit here. The other problem with very rapid weight loss or using some of these drugs is that you're not getting any of the behavioral changes. Okay, you're not building the good habits that will sustain you for the long term, which exposes you at risk of rebound, so putting the weight back on to a certain degree, and doesn't promote the resilience required to live in a world where we're just marketed shit food all the time. Okay, it's not really pushing us down the path of health, in my opinion. So if we zoom out, for like most of us, maybe most of the guys watching this, you're not necessarily massively obese, you're not planning on taking Ozempic or something else like that to have this chemically induced kind of not eating phase, but you do want to get lean as fuck without the muscle loss. The rapid weight loss approach could be troublesome. Hopefully you appreciate that. On the flip side, the psychology of rapid weight loss and getting a result really, really quickly, it can be very positive and can create a positive reinforcement loop, allowing you to move through that initial phase of inertia, that really troublesome phase of like, I want to do it, but I'm not going to see results first. If you get through that phase as quickly as possible, then your brain wakes up to this kind of like, I can be fit and healthy, I can achieve this, I can do this, and promote you to do more and more and more. So everything has got a pro and con. And obviously that's the pro to doing things quicker. Okay, so then we have to think through how we want to balance that, how we actually rationalize that to make good decisions in life. Is this for me? Is this approach for me? How do I make a good decision? So back to the question, is a rapid action plan, whether it be about fat loss, fitness, running, whatever your stick is, right for you? I.e. 5 kilos in 6 weeks, and then move on to the next thing. Is that the right approach? Well, you have to be master of your own destiny. You have to make your own good, informed decisions. Hopefully this will allow you to think through the options and make a quality decision. This is how I would answer the question for myself and for my coaching clients if they were to ask it. And it's just what I've seen repeatedly in my own life and my clients' lives as well, in terms of how to get progress the quickest. And just to be very clear, bottom line up front, yes, having periods of intensity, as I would describe them, to get short-term results can really provide good building blocks moving forwards and allow you to expedite that journey to the fitness that you actually want. Caveat here would be, unless you've got any serious eating problems or you're severely obese or you've got health concerns like that. Not usually the guys I talk to. Hey-ho. Now, why is a fast action plan really worth it? And why do we want to do it and think about doing it? Maybe. Consistency is by far the hardest thing to build into your life, and most people never achieve it. So let's peel that back a few steps and think about how we can be intense and persistent over a shorter period of time to get an immediate result, and then go back to some sort of equilibrium, maintenance, slow progress, however you want to define that, as long as not slipping backwards, so we can then find another period where we can go and sprint forwards. Okay, so effectively we're taking small bites to sprint the marathon. Everyone's busy, so having a focus period, I would say, of about 4 to 6 weeks where we go hard, and then rolling back to a slow progress, I want to use those words, slow progress approach, can be a really effective way to move through your fitness levels, if you like. Question is, how do we do it? Let's go. So back to my system, GPS. The goal, clear goal, 5 kilos in 6 weeks. Let's use that example. The plan. Okay, we're going to track calories. We're going to stay under a total calorie count for the day. We're going to hit a protein target. These are all things that I'm an advocate of. Or something like, I'm going to prep the meals 4 days a week. That's my plan to ensure that I'm in a calorie deficit and I'm smashing life and I'm going to get the result I want. Okay, so the plan aligned with the goal. Then we move on to how we build a system around that to reinforce the plan against the goal. For example, you might say, right, I'm going to block out my diary on a Sunday. I'm going to do meal prep for 2 hours. Might work for you. I'm going to spend my excess money and I'm going to get a meal prep service for the next 4 weeks. So I know exactly what I'm eating because it says on the packet and that's the only thing I'm going to consume. I might set an alarm on my phone every 2 hours so I know to track my food so I don't forget to track calories. I might keep a food diary. I might get a coach to kick me up the arse, whatever it is. Okay, that would be a system that is aligned with the plan. That's going to keep you honest, keep you accountable to your plan, which is aligned to the goal. I want to drill that point home. Then we build some sort of accountability. Okay, if you're in my group, hopefully you are watching this, you can use the group as accountability. You can pay for me to do that accountability for you and personalize things so you actually get the results that you want. There's other ways to do that. Okay, you can find a buddy to hold you accountable. What I'm not an advocate of, as a side note, is declaring things to the world. I'm going to make a New Year's resolution that I'm going to drop 10 stone this year. Okay, firstly, often we set unachievable things because we want to show off to our friends. And we get already, as soon as we start doing that, we get a dopamine response to just declaring it, just making the statement out into the universe. Which means we're getting a sort of weird psychological reward without taking any action. Okay, that's a real trap we don't want to get into. Okay, we don't want to start rewarding ourselves unless we're doing things. We only want action, and we want to think about doing things independently to build that resilience, to build that grit, so we know we can continue along this journey. Okay, and we want people to be supportive. And just to be clear, this could be the same for building muscle, getting a different training plan in place, meaningful running program, whatever it is. Okay, that's exactly how I would break it down. Hopefully that's helpful. Yeah, I've talked to lots of guys want fast results. Maybe that's you. Is it achievable? Yes. But we need to think about it in the broader context. And we need to have a very specific plan about how long we're going to focus in for and treat it as a sprint. The thing I haven't talked about yet, which is the final comment I'm going to make, which is you need a backstop. Okay, you need to ensure that when you sprint for 4 weeks, get the result, don't get the result, going to be agnostic with the outcome. We then don't just fall down a hole. Okay, we go into what I call a slow progress mode. Okay, so we're going to sprint, continue to run slowly. Sprint, continue to run slowly. What we don't want to do is sprint, fall back down the hill, sprint again, fall back down the hill. Again, that's going to create a really negative association. That's going to be so hard to actually prove yourself, move forward, and take action in a positive way and get above that threshold of feeling like life's just a bit shit. Hopefully this is helpful. Hopefully the detail is really pertinent to you and your journey. Okay. Most of you are seeing this in my school community. If not, the link is down there. You need to get on the inside. This is where we have discussions about this stuff. This is where I source the questions. This is where I source all the information. And we break down in even more detail and we personalize it for you. If you're not in school, get in there now. See you later.